Good morning to you. You live in a shoe. It is 4:19 p.m. I just filmed 2 videos. I have like 2 extra Peterisms videos. I don't know if I like missed uploading a day or what, but yeah, I had like 2 extra Peterisms videos, and so I went and got coffee. I got up, I went and got coffee, filmed my videos, and now I am getting ready to change my shirt and then go pick up the dogs from the kennel, which we call the hotel. And I slept in today. It was so nice. My husband, as you can see, is completely not unpacked yet. So, but I am, which is really nice. Okay, I'll put that there for just a second. I have to do laundry today. So, I have to wear this shirt that I wore yesterday, because when I come home, I just literally change from one black t-shirt to another. But when I come home, I'm going to do a bunch of laundry, change the sheets on the bed. Oh, maybe Alex did that right before we left. I can't remember. And yeah, just relax. I made 2 drama videos today. I got all my videos up. I could do a booktube video, but I'm not gonna do that today, because I just need to kind of relax. I went to the bank earlier. Make the bed real nice for Pee-Pee when he comes home. They act crazy when they come home. They run around the house for about 15 minutes. Well, usually it's just Pee-Pee coming home, because Boo and Tucker stay here. You know, my husband just needs to throw this out. This thing is like so old. It has no buttons, this duvet cover. It has no buttons at the bottom of it. We were gonna get like just one big huge blanket like months ago, and we never did that. Does this have any buttons on it at all left? My God, it really doesn't. There's one. So the comforter doesn't come out. Oh, there's another one. I don't even think it's that comfortable, honestly. He's had it like since college, and he loves it. But usually they run around for like 10 minutes, and they go upstairs, downstairs, upstairs, downstairs. They go crazy, and then they completely crash, all 3 of them, on the bed, and they sleep forever. And it's funny because like when Pee-Pee's at the kennel, I mean, he goes outside, but then when he comes inside, he's just like in Tanya's office, relaxing and stuff. But when Boo and Tucker go, I need a t-shirt of Alex, that's dirty to dust off my table. But when Boo and Tucker go, like, they run outside so much. They just like are in their lead, and they just run upside and up, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That Tucker is like completely hoarse and can hardly like bark. And he's so tired, it's so cute, that he's just like, he comes back and he's just like completely exhausted. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna head out and get the dogs. And I will show you this. Alex's mom got him this Burberry cologne for his birthday. And it's like one of my new favorite colognes of his. Look at these toys. We have to keep these toys up here, because when Tucker has them, like, he carries them with him everywhere. We can't take him outside or anything because he carries these in these are his favorite toy in the entire world. We've had them for years. Look how tattered they are. Tucker's really the only one that plays with toys. Oh, and here's a new candle that Alex brought me. I don't even know what the brand is. Patty Wax. Alright, you guys, so I will be back here in just a little bit. I'll see you then. Bye. So I'm at the kennel. Oh my lord, look who it is! Hi! Hi, guys! Hi! Oh my lord, Mr. Pee-Pee, come here, honey. Oh, Pee-Pee. Did you have a good time, honey? Look at your little bandana. Oh, hi, guys. Hi, honey. Okay, well, I just wanted to show the dogs at the hotel. Aw, have a kiss? Aw, did you miss me? Aw. Boo Radley, did you have fun, Tucker? Did you guys have fun?
Do your voice, Peter.
What's the voice? Boo Radley said, I'm my own person. I'm my own person. I do what I want. I'm my own person. All right, we're gonna go get in the car. I'll see you guys later. Hold on, let me turn this off. Say bye, Pete. Hello. How are you guys doing? I like need to trim my beard up. It is 11:27. This is like a little bit of an earlier vlog. I was gonna go meet up with Tanya, but she is with one of the girls that works for her because she got a new, this girl got a new Jeep. So Tanya is riding around with her in her new Jeep. I'm kind of waiting to see if I hear from Tanya. I had brought her gifts that I bought for her from Vegas. We always bring stuff for each other. I got her this, did I show this already? I got her this Cosmopolitan water bottle. She likes things that have like the places that we stay on them. And then I got her this, Tanya always wears hats. So I got this white Cosmopolitan hat. And then I'm gonna give her one of our, we didn't even end up using our bath bombs that we bought from Lush. So I gave her the Metamorphosis bath bomb and the, I think it's the avocado oil thing that goes with it. Because we didn't even use them. And then we're gonna save the super sexy sex bomb or whatever it's called for the next time we go on vacation. Alex is relaxing with the dogs. I took a nap this evening and completely crashed out. And the dogs are being so sweet. They like came home and of course they like, you know, like rubbed their backs all over. Did I bring my wallet with me? Yeah. They're like rubbing their backs all over the bed and, you know, all of that. And just being so sweet. And then when Alex, I started laying down like 5 minutes before Alex got home. And then he came upstairs and talked to me for a couple minutes. And I was like, I'm crashing. I'm like exhausted. So I laid down and he was like catching up on TV. Right now when I left, he was watching The Real Housewives of the OC. I watched the first episode of The Real Housewives of New York reunion earlier. And Tanya and I, like that's the one, like Alex doesn't watch New York and I love it. It's like one of my favorite seasons. Well, Atlanta is my favorite, but and it's so funny because I'm like a Ramona fan and Tanya is a Bethany fan and I cannot stand Bethany Frankel. I don't know why, but don't hate me for it. I just can't, I don't like her. I don't know why. She always just seems so righteous to me. Tanya's like, I love Bethany Frankel, and so Tanya and I were talking about it on the phone, but he's watching that. And I like woke up from my nap and like Pee-Pee was like right next to me. And like I like turned over and he's like right here. Like, and he never sleeps like there. And Boo Radley was like sleeping like right with his head like on my pillow. They were like, it was so cute. I took a picture and put it up on Twitter, and I think I put it on Instagram too, of us like walking up to the bedroom because they were all like standing there waiting for me to come into the bedroom. It was cute. So yeah, that was my day today. Very relaxing. And then Alex works tomorrow for like one of the contracts that he does, and it's his really good friend that he works for. And her dad just passed away recently, and she hasn't been at work for like a couple weeks in her office, so he's like gonna like hang out and do some stuff with her tomorrow night, I think. So yep. So I don't know, maybe I'll hang out with Tanya tomorrow night and give give her her stuff. I brought it with me anyway in case she's like, text me and it's like, I'm free. Be like, okay, I'm on my way. I really want to get a bottle of water. I'm really thirsty for water. I feel very, very dehydrated tonight. I forget what the humidity is like. You know, Las Vegas is like dry heat, and here it is just super, super humid. And I love the humidity. I mean, we stepped outside and I was like, oh my God, I forgot what this is like. I love the feeling of it, but you also get dehydrated very quickly. And not only that, but I drank so much water when we were in Vegas. Like when we were by the pool, I was like constantly drinking like bottles of Fiji, or they have these huge things by the pool where you can just fill up glasses of water the whole time. So, and Alex always takes one of those bottles with him wherever he flies or wherever he goes, that you can fill it up. I can't think of what those, it starts with an S. I can't remember. We have like 6 of them in the kitchen, 3 like off-brand ones, and he always, like when he goes to conferences and stuff, like they always give those out now. It's like, that's a big gift. Back in the day, it was like stress balls and pens. Now, like when you go to conferences, the stuff they give you is so nice. I don't go to conferences anymore, obviously. I have no reason to go to a conference, so. But they give you those bottles. What are they called? Those bottles of water. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? They're really nice. So we have like a whole cabinet filled with those, and then I have like the Starbucks cup down here that's metal. Oh. There's like this mix of this Amy Winehouse Rehab song that I love, and I've been listening to it all day long today. So in my head, I keep on, do you ever have like a song stuck in your head and you can't get it out of your head? So in my head, I just have that one line going over and over and over and over again. They tried to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no. Oh. Oh my God. And with Indiana comes fall, comes allergies. Like our driveway and our yard and everything already. I mean, it's not even September 1st is, oh my God. Completely full of leaves. Like completely, like leaves everywhere. So weird. I was like looking at this liquor store and it said open Sunday, and I was like, why is that so weird to me? I don't know why that's weird. And it's because liquor stores can be open on Sundays now. They can sell alcohol on Sundays, and that's new in Indiana in the last couple months. Like, I think I even talked about it on here on one day, the day that it started. Like, it was so weird to me. Like, growing up, you had to like plan ahead, you know, like what you were gonna drink on Saturday night and hope that you didn't drink it all before Sunday, because when you woke up on Sunday, you couldn't, you know. The last couple nights have looked like full moons. I either missed it or it's almost a full moon. I feel like it was a full moon and now it's like going down is how I feel like tonight it looks like a little bit less of a full moon than it did last night. I don't know though, I can't really tell. It's pretty, nonetheless. These were like the last days of summer when I was growing up as a kid. And I remember, I've told this story on here before, but I'm going to tell it anyway. My mom's best friend, her whole life growing up, well, she had like 2 best friends. She had her best friend Diane from high school that was like a year behind her in high school. And, but she and Diane were friends their entire life. And when my mom graduated from high school, my mom went to IU, and Diane ended up moving to San Francisco, and she lived in the Haight, and she did like that whole hippie thing, which is kind of like my mom's connection to that a little bit. And then, like in the mid-70s, Diane moved from there to Beaver Island, Michigan, because her dad had a house on Beaver Island, Michigan, which you go to Charlevoix and then you take the ferry over, and Beaver Island's just this really small island in upstate Michigan. And my mom always just called it the island. And she had gone up there in summers in high school and stuff, but with Diane. And then Diane and her mom, because Diane's mom and dad got divorced when Diane was probably in her early 20s, which you think about that, her dad was like a doctor and stuff, and you think about that in retrospect, how weird that was that they got divorced. Nobody got divorced back then, you know? This would have been the early 60s. And so Diane's mom and Diane's little sister, who was severely developmentally disabled, went to go live on Beaver Island, and then Diane ended up moving there in the mid-70s, and she lived on the island for the rest of her life. And Beaver Island was an island. It's actually an island. And they would come over, the ferry would come over until it started getting, winter icing in November, December, and then the ferry wouldn't come back over but once a month, because they couldn't make it back over there. So they wouldn't see anybody through the whole winter. And electricity would go out a lot and stuff like that. And I remember Diane coming to visit us, and she would come for long periods of time. When she came to visit, she would come down for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And I remember that was when VCRs had just come out, that she came to visit us, and she would want to rent every old movie that had come out that she had never seen in a movie theater. And she would want to rent, just all of the, all of the old movies that she had never seen. Peter Sellers movies, I remember, were her favorite. And they would stay up. I can remember she and Diane would stay up so late, and they would drink and smoke cigarettes. And I would come down, and I think maybe it was just me being really protective of my mom, and I would come down, I'd be like, "Are you going to bed?" And she would say, "No, Diane and I are staying up a little bit longer, sweetie, it's okay." And she'd say, "Just go to bed, honey." And then I can remember, I would, this was in the summer that she came to visit, and I'd be like, "Mom, when does Diane get up?" And she'd say, "Diane always has been a late sleeper, but, if she's visiting, she wouldn't even get up till 4 o'clock in the afternoon." I mean, this is a grown adult, I mean, she was in her 40s at this point. So anyway, and she was a bartender on, she cleaned hotel rooms in this one hotel they had there, and then she bartended at this bar called Jack's that was on the island. And because my mom would always talk about this bar, Jack's. One time she and my mom, my mom, I think, was just graduated from college, and she went to go visit Diane, and they were up there, and they were in this bar, and this bar back then, it would be sailors would come through and stuff like that, off these huge fishing boats in upstate Michigan and stuff. And so they lost some drinking bet that they could make it out in a rowboat into the middle of this Michigan harbor or whatever it was. But anyway, Michigan has, I think people, don't know this, but it's like the ocean. I mean, it has huge boats on it and stuff. There's shipping that goes on out there. And so here's my mom and Diane drunk. It's not really even a funny story, but the way that they would tell it was so funny. Out in the middle of Lake Michigan, and they're trying to get past this one little canal, and they look up, and it's pitch black out there. You can't see anything, and all of a sudden they look up, and there's all they can see is the front of this huge shipping boat coming right at them, and literally missed them by 5 feet, and they almost got hit by this. Shipping would have been dead, never tell the story again. But anyway, so she and Diane stayed friends their whole life, and Diane came to visit a lot. There's a lot of baby pictures of when I was born. Diane came to visit in Chicago, and Diane's a friend of my mom's that 3 years before my mom died, she died, and my mom just was inconsolable. She was I mean, who knows my soul now? That was an exact line that my mom said. She's who will know my soul now? So when I was in 9th grade going into 10th grade that summer, my mom and I, and my mom's friend and her daughter, my mom's friend from college, we all, the 4 of us, drove up to Beaver Island. It's a 9-hour drive to drive from here to Charlevoix, and then you take the ferry over, And you know, I had never been to Beaver Island before, so I didn't know what to expect. And I remember we like put our car on the, what do you call it? My mom's friend drove like a 2-door Bronco back then, and I remember my mom and her friend like chain smoked cigarettes, and her friend smoked Vincent Hedges ultralight menthols. I don't know how I remember that, but I do remember like when I was in high school for a while, I loved that pack, so I smoked those. But they would smoke with the windows up and the air conditioning on. Do you guys remember that when parents would do that? And you'd have the ashtray that pulled out, and it would, like with the lighter. I mean, cars don't even have ashtrays. No, my car doesn't even have an ashtray in it anymore. You know, like, and they would pull it, and it would just be like that ashtray that was like overflowing. And I can remember just sitting in that car thinking I was just gonna like die of smoking ventilation. To then become a smoker, you know, is, anyway, horrible. But you guys remember that smell of people, like parents smoking inside of cars with the air conditioning on? Oh my God, kill a beast. But, so the drive was like 9 hours. I remember we took the ferry over, and I was real obsessed that summer with listening to like all of my mom's music growing up. I was listening to like Bob Dylan and Joni Mitchell and Judy Collins and Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young and Neil Young and the Concert for Bangladesh and the Newport Folk Festival and Woodstock and the Grateful Dead and Led Zeppelin. Like, I was listening to all of that music, and I was kind of finding my own, like, you know, musical tastes. And I remember that the whole way over to the island, I just listened to Mr. Tambourine Man, like, on repeat by Bob Dylan, just over and over and over again. I can see myself in the head, just, like, looking out at the water. And I was so terrified of going to high school. And I can remember we got back, like, we must have gotten, I always think of it as, like, the last thing that we did in the summer. Oh, Tanya's calling me, hold on. Okay, so I always think of that as, like, the last thing that we did that summer, and then I came back and I went back to school, but that's not true, because I can remember that my mom's friend Susie, who I call Aunt Susie, Mother Susie, she and her daughter Carrie came to visit, and like, I can remember, like, Carrie's high school was like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and my high school was 10th, 11th, and 12th. And I was really scared about starting high school, and Carrie was like, don't worry about it, you'll be completely fine, you know, it's not scary at all, blah, 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 whatever. So, because I can remember us having that conversation, because they used to come every summer when I was growing up, Susie and her daughters. So that would have been like the last thing, because the last thing we used to always do is go school shopping with Susie and her daughters, and then there was like a week in between when they left and school starting. So that must have been, so I don't know, we must have gone to Michigan like the first week of August. But I remember taking the ferry over, and I was like listening to Mr. Tambourine Man the whole time, and I have like this picture of me with like these Ray-Bans on, and I'm like too cool for school that my mom took this picture, and I'm like in this, I was like really thin by that point. Like, I lost a lot of weight before I went to high school into 10th grade. That was like the summer that I lost a lot of weight, and right before school started too, my hair was like a little bit longer, and I got it all chopped off, and so I looked, and I got it like colored. I had like, my hair was like blonde and brown. It was like real mixed, crazy like punk colors. It was like, and I went back to high school, and like people were like, oh my God, who are you? I was like a completely different person. So anyway, and I hadn't seen my friends in like 3 weeks. And I didn't really start hanging out with my friend group, like the girls that I became like best friends with. I didn't even really start hanging out with them until like the second semester of my sophomore year. Because my mom and dad weren't really big into me getting into a car like at 16 years old with other people. Like, they were kind of weird about that at first, I remember. So anyway, get it with your car. we went to Beaver Island, and we rented this little house that was like on the beach. And I remember it was real cute. It was we just like sat on the corner of this beach, and it had like 2 bedrooms, this little kitchen, this little like little living room, and we would play like games and cards every night. My mom's friend, I've talked about this on here before, my mom's friend would make bagels every night or every morning for breakfast, and she would toast them with butter. She would like put butter on them and then like put them in the oven. How did she do it? She would toast them, then put butter on them and cream cheese, and then put them, like wrap them in, what do you call it? Aluminum foil, and then she would put them in the oven. They were so good. And we would swim in the lake every day, and the lake, you could go like, it was freezing. Lake Michigan is so cold, even in the hottest days of summer, it's so cold. And I remember we like would go way out. You could go like a mile out, and it would still just be up to your ankles because like of the sandbars that were in Lake Michigan in that area. So yeah, it was fun. We didn't have a TV or anything, and we just played games at night. And my mom, I remember, went out a couple nights with her friend Diane, and we stayed back with my mom's friend. And so it was like me and her daughter. And I remember my mom came home. I told this on here before. She was so drunk, so wasted drunk, and she and Diane went swimming. And my mom took her contacts out and put them, like, laid them on the beach so she could get them. Yeah, that's how drunk she was. Took her contacts out and laid them on the beach, and they were like those kind of contacts. They were like that you had to like gas permeable or something, that hard lenses or something that you had to wash every day in that thing that you shook. Do you remember that? She had to do that every day. She was so upset because they were so expensive, and she lost them. Obviously, she couldn't find them. My mom's eyesight was so bad her entire life; she could not see. And if she wasn't wearing glasses or contacts, she had glasses, and her glasses were really thick. My mom actually, for a while, had those red lenses, the Sally Jesse Raphael glasses. Later in life, she always had like black tortoiseshell glasses that she wore. That's all she wore later in life. But that was a fun trip. The one and only time I ever made it to Beaver Island. My mom we would always talk about, you know, oh, we gotta go every summer, we gotta go. We would say that afterwards, and she'd say, I just wish you'd take me to Beaver Island again. I'd say, Mom, I'll take you anytime you wanna go, when you wanna go. And she'd say, oh, next summer. I go, okay, let's go next summer. And then next summer would come and we wouldn't go, you know. And for the entire time that I was growing up and everything, Susie would always ask us to come out to Colorado, and my mom would say, I just wish we could go to Colorado and visit Susie, you know. And I'd say, Mom, anytime you want to go, let's just go. But my mom hated flying. She was terrified of it, so she didn't want to fly. And she would say, well, I don't really like to fly. And I'd say, well, we can drive out there, Mom, but it's like a 2-day drive. And she'd be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I could do a flight. And I'd say anytime, you know. And, you know, for what, 30 years that Susie came to visit us, probably longer than that, from 5 to 36 when I died, we never once made it out there. And then the year that my mom passed away, so she died in May, and I went out there that summer to visit my friend that lives in Denver, Paul. And Paul and I went and had dinner at Susie's house, and I just like, broke down. I remember like I walked in her house. I just looked at her and I was like, Susie, for 30 years I've been like trying to bring my mom out here, you know, and she was like, I know she should be here with us, you know. And we had a great time. We had dinner, and her daughter lives across the street from her that I'm like, you know, known my whole life. And I haven't cried in a vlog in a while, so get over it. But it just was a little overwhelming to me. It was like, you know, my mom should be here for this, and it was surreal. Like, you know, it was, my mom had never made it out to Susie's to see her house where she lived. And what was so weird was that, like, so the part of it, she lives in a suburb, where she lives looks identical to like where I grew up, like in Indiana. Like the neighborhoods look identical, and it just was so weird. My mom would have loved her house so much, and I just, you know, it's weird. And I think, like, that's testament to not waiting on doing things. You know, if there are things that you want to do, or there are things that you've been putting off to, like, do them, you know, just go and do them, because you don't ever know, like, when it's going to be too late. You never know, right? And maybe not just for you, but for people in your life, you never know. My eye is, like, clogged now. It'll clear up since I started crying. Sitting there, and her grandkids were like playing piano. They were like playing this song for us they had just learned, and they were all fighting for my attention. And Susie and I were sitting there, and she had made us coffee, and we were just talking about stuff. I mean, Susie and I are really close anyway, you know. She's like my mom's one friend that, like, I've had an adult relationship with as I've gotten older too. Like, the rest of my mom's friends, very much, I would say, like, our relationship is still very much like I'm 15. You know what I mean? But Susie's not that, and I think it's because Susie, like, indirectly sees me as, like, her nephew. She really does. She calls me, like, once a month and checks in on me, if not more than that, and, or I'll call her when I have something funny to tell her, and I remember, it was so weird. So, you know, you have to remember my ex and I were still together that following year before my mom passed away. And Susie came to visit, like, every summer, like I said. But that year she came because it was their sorority's reunion. They were both Pi Phis. Pi Phi, Pi Phi, Pi Beta Phi. Be a Pi Phi all my life until the day I die. I wouldn't be a Kappa, to G or Alpha Kappa, be a Pi Phi. Were you in sororities? Did you have songs? Pi Phi misses, Pi Phi kisses, sweetest of them all. My mom used to say, as she got older, she would say, I never really realized how totally arrogant the Pi Phi songs are, like, that were, like, the finest things on the face of the earth. She's like, I think that's kind of funny. But anyway, and not only that, like, but, like, as my mom, like, my entire life, like, when she would, like, refer to somebody, she would say, like, oh, Susie Smith, she was a DG at DePaul, or, you know, like, oh, Sally Jones, she was a Kappa at Purdue. Like, she would always say that. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, does anybody else have parents like that? I think it's a different generation, you know, like, my brother-in-law is a Sigma Chi, and he pledged at Ball State, but, like, I know people still get in fraternities and sororities today, but I just don't think it's the biggest deal as it was, like, when my parents, you know, my dad was president of the Fiji House at IU, and, I mean, let me just tell you, I don't think my dad really cared, but my dad was a Fiji, my mom was a Pi Phi, and they were devastated that I did not, like, well, my mom was, she was devastated that I didn't go to a, you know, like, a traditional college on campus and pledge a fraternity. I'm like, no, Mom, I was a little bit more into, like, making clothes for my friends at that point. I wasn't really interested in keggers at a frat house. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that was just not my scene, you know? So, anyway, the last time that Susie came to visit was the homecoming game between IU and Purdue, and it was also their Pi Phi class reunion. It was like they would do their reunion like 3 classes, so it would be like this year, and this year, and so my mom was 62, 63, so my mom was her first year at IU. She graduated in 61, so it would have been 61, 62, 63, and 64 that she was at IU. And so I think it was classes like somewhere in there, you know, pledge classes, probably 60 through 65 or something like that. And Susie and my mom went down there for it, I remember, and they went and they stayed for the game. It's called the Old Oaken Bucket, or maybe that's the one that's at Purdue. But anyway, they stayed down there. Maybe it was just homecoming. I can't remember. But I think it was homecoming. And they stayed down there for the game. And then they went to their college reunion, or their Pi Phi reunion. No. Their Pi Phi reunion was a different weekend. That was a different year, I think. That last year, I think they just went down for homecoming. And Susie came into town. Susie used to be on, like, the foundation. Like, so she was into, like, doing all that stuff back in the day. And is still friends. Like, it was funny because I was talking to her the other day, and her granddaughter is interested in going to IU, even though she's got like 4.5 grade point average and all these extra. She doesn't need any extra help getting into IU. Although IU is a tough school to get into today. But she was like saying, she was like, well, I'm still friends with, you know, your mom and I knew so-and-so, and, you know, he's like emeritus president or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, he is? I didn't even know he was still alive. So anyway, I mean, can you imagine getting a letter of recommendation from a past president of a university? So anyway, they went down there in October, whatever it was, I don't know, their reunion or homecoming. I'm almost positive it was homecoming, because they took a picture in front of the Pi-Fi house. That's how I remember this. And they came back that night, and I went over there. Susie was staying with my mom, and I stayed there till like 11:30, 12, because I had to work the next day. Drank coffee with them. We sat around, and I just had the weirdest feeling when I left. Like, I like got him. I remember like I hugged Susie so hard. I actually thought it was gonna be something was gonna happen to Susie, because I remember like when I left, I had this innate feeling. I was like, this is the last time it's ever gonna be like this. Like, I just knew. I had the weirdest feeling. I was like, you know, my entire life, Susie would come to visit like twice a year, and, you know, always in the summer, at least one time, and then stay with my mom for like a week or two, you know, and I would come over there, and when I was an adult, and we'd sit around and talk about books and movies and politics and everything, you know. And I just had such a weird feeling that night. I was like, this is the last time that it's ever gonna be like this. And I remember I went home, and my ex was like, what is wrong? Are you okay? What's wrong? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. I think like this is the last time that I'm ever gonna see Susie like in this capacity again. And it was weird. Like, the feeling wasn't this is the last time that I'm gonna see Susie. The feeling was this is the last time that I'm gonna see Susie in this capacity. And he was like, what do you, and I just remember like I couldn't even like talk. I was like inconsolable, and he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I just don't ever think that they're gonna be like that again together. I don't know, like it's just weird. And then my mom passed away that May, and the next time that I saw Susie was, she like flew in the day of the viewing, and she was like the last person that walked in the viewing, because her plane got in so late because she had to like schedule her flight at the last minute. And I remember she like walked in the door, and I just was like, my God, Susie, you know, like this is just so weird. I think the weirdest thing, like as you get older, it's like, I think often people like misunderstand like my crying. Like a lot of times I cry for joy. This is not me crying for joy, but I think sometimes you wake up and you kind of forget how old you are. You know, it's like, I'm 46. This was 10 years ago that this happened, you know? I'm not getting any younger, you know? Like, my aunt and uncle are gone now, and like, my past is gone, you know? And Susie's in her mid-70s, and she's almost, you know, my dad turned 78. I think she was like, my mom would be 75, my dad's 78. So she's like a year older than my mom and like 2 years younger than my dad. So she's like 76. And I talked to her on the phone. She's like, oh, I'm going skiing with the grandkids this weekend, you know, but it's like, it's weird. And she's like really the only person to my past, besides Caroline, my cousin, that is still alive, you know, and it's just weird. It's so weird, you know. And I've talked about that on here before, but it's like, I think to some degree, this year with my uncle passing away more than ever, I've really grieved like my childhood of growing up, you know, of being over. Which I think honestly sometimes happens so slow for people that they don't even realize it happening, if that makes sense. Like, I think most people don't even recognize it's happening because it's like it happens in such slow spurts. But like my life today compared to 10 years ago looks absolutely nothing the same. Well, I mean, at this point, 10 years ago, I had met my husband and we were dating, so just for a week, but we were dating. But you know, like this time, you know, 10 years ago in like February or March, you know, when I had left my job and my ex and I had broken up and my mom was in the hospital in a coma, like the friends I hung out, I mean, I'm not friends with any of the people that I was friends with back then. Everybody's moved or gone their separate ways or settled down and they're in relationships and I just don't see them anymore. My entire friend group, with the exception of Tanya and some other friends, and I mean, my recovery friends really haven't changed. But I think that's the thing about being in recovery is like, you know, there's some of these people that I've been friends with since the first year that I got sober, and when I got sober, they had 30 years, you know? They're still sober today, so they've been sober 50 plus years, and, you know, they're, you know, in their 80s, and it's like, I don't know. That's why I think often, like, recovery feels safe, because it's like you see the same people over and over and over again, every week, you know, unless people go back out. But very rarely does that happen. I mean, it's happened to me the last couple years that I had 2 close friends of mine that went out with double-digit years, but it doesn't happen as much as you would think it does. It really doesn't. You know, I mean, I think like, and if it does, again, I haven't been aware of it. It's like, it doesn't happen often. It's not that rampant. Most of the people that I know, that have doubled, and I mean like 15 to 20 years, they continue to stay sober. The condition of their recovery may change. You know, they may have a year where they don't go to very many meetings or go to meetings at all, but then they'll come back and, you know, and so those friends have stayed the same. But my friends that are not sober have changed, you know, like, and not because I don't care about them or we don't get along, but because our friend group has just changed, you know, like they've gone on to do different things, they're friends with different people, and we're just not friends anymore. I mean, we're not friends, it's just like, I mean, if I saw them or called them up on the phone, everything would be fine, but it's just like, I just don't see them, you know, we don't make an effort to see each other anymore. I don't know, so anyway. It's hot in this car. I need to get my air conditioning fixed, I need to get my oil changed. I'm gonna get my oil changed this week, but I don't know that I'm gonna get my air conditioning fixed. This woman that we met on Long Island, there's a Dunkin' Donuts right now, right there. She's like obsessed with Dunkin' Donuts, and she's like, I hate Starbucks, I love Dunkin' Donuts. Are you guys like that out there? Are you Dunkin' Donuts fans over Starbucks? I've actually never, I don't know that I've ever gone in, maybe like if I have, it's been like one time that I've gone into a Dunkin' Donuts and actually bought coffee and had it at a Dunkin' Donuts, but I don't remember. And I think if I did, it was because I wanted a donut, not because I wanted their coffee. I didn't know that they had such great coffee. Did you guys know that? The end of summer always gets me a little emotional, I think. You know, it's like, it's like the changing of seasons. And fall is right around the corner. I mean, there are leaves everywhere in our yard. I mean, it literally looks like October in our yard right now. I couldn't believe it when we came back. I was like, when did this happen? And, but the thing is that's so tricky about Indiana is that there are days that it's just like, we can have a day in October that's like 85. Like, it's the weirdest stuff, you know? And so, it isn't necessarily dictated by the month. The only thing is you can't go swimming anymore. I need to go swimming one day this week, or do a night swim. I was going to do a live stream tonight, and I completely forgot. Yep, the times, they are changing. It's funny how you sometimes, like, you listen to certain music as you grow up, and then you revisit it when you get older, you know? It's like there's long periods where you don't listen to it. And I said on here not too long ago that, like, my mom wouldn't listen to certain music because it would make her kind of sad, and that I understood that, and I do understand that. But at the same time, it's like, you kind of revisit some of it, you know, as you get older, especially like the music that I listened to in high school, like, some of it on certain days, I would say, makes me sad, but more than anything, I think it just reminds me, you know. Music can be a scrapbook too, so. Songs for me that I hear that remind me of certain times. Does music do that for you? I don't know. I think the trick is looking forward, enjoying today, but remembering the past at times too, you know, but just not getting stuck in it. All right, you guys, listen, I'm gonna get off here. I love ya. Hope you're having a wonderful week so far. Happy hump day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.